Okay, it's about 9 o'clock at night on Monday, October 6th, and I promised y'all earlier today that I would discuss the nonviolent resistance boot camp that I went to over the weekend. This was a 2-day event of about 200 Oregonians who were deeply invested in building our skills around strategic, effective nonviolence. So here's the deal, y'all. I took a ridiculous amount of notes, and the thing is that coming out of the weekend, I spent time this afternoon actually going over all of my notes. And then I had a little chat with one of the event organizers. These trainers, by the way, are people who have decades of experience in nonviolent activism. I asked for permission to talk about some of the concepts and strategies that were discussed over the weekend. But I want to make it really clear here as I was sifting through my notes and really thinking about it. A lot of what we learned, I don't really feel qualified to turn around and teach other people about. So I appreciate that people are like, oh my God, my comments this morning were flooded with folks being like, how do I take this boot camp? Where do I register for this kind of an event? So this was put together entirely by volunteers. It was a huge amount of work. We got a generous grant from Indivisible to help fund it. But even so, putting on an event like this is very costly. It requires skilled experts to be willing to donate their time. It's an awful lot of organization. It's a very heavy lift. So on top of that, there's also a safety element, right? We are having planning events where people are gathering and training around how to exercise our constitutional rights to effectively resist the tyranny of the government. A big component of an event like this is the safety. My husband just brought me pizza. It's dinner time. Okay. A big component of an event like this is safety. Protecting the privacy and the safety of activists who may potentially be at risk. So for example, I didn't talk about this event in advance because I knew I was going to be there. I was going to be teaching a class. I get threats against my life on a regular basis, right? So I don't want to advertise where I'm going to be in advance as a safety precaution for myself and for anybody that I'm going to be working with. And I am not the only one, right? So we made sure that we were really tight with security, with photography, with protecting the identities of the presenters and trainers. And I say all of this because if you're thinking about putting on an event like this, if you're thinking about doing some kind of organized resistance training, then you also need to really bring in safety experts who can help you plan. So I want to talk about some of the concepts that we covered over the weekend. I don't know, let me know what you think. If you want me to kind of replicate my class that I taught, which was about using social media as an advocacy platform, either as an individual or as your grassroots group, I'm happy to kind of touch on the things that I taught in my class and go through some of the exercises if people are interested. So let me know in the comments. I really appreciate everybody who let me know after I posted my video about this subject this morning that they would like to take a class like this. To me, that says there is a real earnest need. There is absolutely an appetite for and a need for this kind of training. So many of us are having to fight fascism for the first time in our entire lives. We're having to build a lot of skills very, very quickly. And we need experts who can teach us. And one of the trainers at our event, who just I have the utmost respect for, comes out of the ACT UP AIDS activism movement. And I know that we talk about other countries that have effectively used nonviolent resistance tactics like Serbia and Chile and India. And we talk about the American civil rights movement, as we rightly should, because there is a wealth of information there. Like, we should be looking to the folks who have used these, who developed and honed these strategies and applied them. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here, y'all, right? We can look to those folks in the past who created these strategies, used them with great success, and refined them over time. And honestly, I haven't seen a lot of people on social media talking about AIDS activism as a really key place for us to go looking for skills, strategies, techniques. I understand that we lost a lot of very powerful people with a tremendous wealth of knowledge from that movement, right? People who passed away from AIDS, who are not here to teach us the skills that they developed, who are not here to show us what they did. But we were really blessed to have one of our lead trainers be a gentleman who has literally decades of experience. So I want you to understand that a number of the things I'm going to talk about as I'm going through what I learned from this course come directly from the work of AIDS activists. I really want us to honor and acknowledge their contributions and how what they did back then is helping us protect American democracy right now. If you are not familiar with the history of AIDS activism, now is a really good time to get acquainted, not only because it's really important that we learn our history, but because everything that happened then is so relevant right now. I'm going to give you two resources, and if y'all know of others, please drop them in the comments. The first one is a film from, I think it's 2012, called How to Survive a Plague. You will learn so much about the ACT UP movement. Second film is from a little bit earlier. I think it's the early 2000s. It's called United in Anger, The History of ACT UP. I think most activists right now in the United States, again, a lot of us are newbies, a lot of us are learning for the first time. We cannot even begin to conceptualize the level of planning, strategy, gaming out what needs to happen, the amount of commitment to nonviolent discipline. One of the things that I think too many people don't understand about nonviolence is that they think it is passivity. They think it is just a moral commitment to not harming other people's bodies, right? So people can conflate nonviolence with pacifism. I thought I knew a lot about nonviolence as a concept, and I realized after this weekend, there are so many aspects of nonviolent resistance that is not peaceful. It is absolutely disruptive. It will get you brutalized by the cops. It will get you put in jail. It will be part of a strong, sustained, meaningful, successful campaign that brings about meaningful, real change. I've been getting a lot of people in my comments lately who seem to falsely believe that there is this progression from non-violent tactics to violent ones, as if like we tried some non-violent stuff. We tried walking around with signs and marching and singing songs and playing our ukuleles, and that didn't stop the fascists. So now we are advancing to violence. So let's clear this up here real quick. The reason that we commit to nonviolent discipline, the reason that we strategize using techniques of nonviolent resistance is not because of a moral commitment to it. That can be a component. That can be a component of it. But the reason that you are doing that is because you want to bring about meaningful change, is because you want the labor, the sacrifice that you are giving to be effective and yield results. We are doing nonviolent resistance because it is more effective. I am an extremely pragmatic person. I would not be engaged in this kind of work because it feels good or it feels peaceful. No, I want to fucking get the job done. I want to stop the fascists. I want to protect vulnerable people. I want to restore our democracy and build a better America. That's why I'm doing this. Nonviolence kind of breaks a lot of people's brains, right? Because the regime really wants us to be violent. We live in a white patriarchal dominated culture that brings all of our Christian evangelical baggage along with it, where the paradigm is might makes right, where the paradigm is that violence and brutality is more powerful, when in fact we know that nonviolence is extremely powerful, specifically because it breaks the paradigm, specifically because it is us refusing to play by their rules. We are subverting the dynamic that they want to create, and it helps us take control of the narrative, and it helps us get the upper hand. We are doing nonviolence because it will get the job done. It is not pie in the sky. I promise you, if you had listened to our head trainer this weekend and the shit that he has been through, it is precisely because of the activism of AIDS activists that our trainer is here today, that our trainer has been able to access the life-saving medical care. Those treatments were developed because of AIDS activists. They sacrificed to bring about meaningful change that is saving the lives of HIV positive people in this country today. In the next video, I want to talk about the 4 core principles of nonviolence. But before I do that, I want to clarify something really quickly that people frequently get confused about. Nonviolent resistance is a specific strategy that you are voluntarily engaging in. It is not the same thing as self-defense. And when we talk about these concepts, it's really important that we are not telling marginalized people that are being targeted by the regime how they engage in self-defense, how they protect their lives. Nonviolent resistance can be used to protect marginalized people. Nonviolent resistance was crafted by marginalized people for that purpose, but it is not the same thing as self-defense. Okay, it's now going for 10, so I'm going to start first thing tomorrow morning, the 4 core principles of nonviolence. So please come back.